Hello, everyone. My name is Jill Malmgren, Executive Director of America's ToothFairy. Today, we will be talking with longtime board member and one of the most recognizable names in dentistry, Dr. Gordon Christensen. Dr. Christensen is a founder and CEO of Practical Clinical Courses, and he's co-founder and CEO for Clinicians Report Foundation. He's also a practicing prosthodontist in Provo, Utah. He has presented over 45,000 hours of continuing education around the world and published many books and articles. Let's get started. Okay, Dr. Christensen, you are a very busy man. You have your training courses, write for various dental publications, speak at events around the world. Why do you make time for philanthropy?
Excellent question, Jill.
Mhm.
I grew up in a family that was a wonderful family. It was very blue collar. My father had a third grade education. My mother had a high school education. And I worked my entire young life. Even when I went to dental school, I was working nights. I was teaching a religious seminary early in the morning. And I felt the need of so many people. I've worked in almost every developing country of any size, and donated courses there. And I've noted the inadequacy of oral care in these countries, and I feel extremely blessed to be where I am. I'll tell you, I have only one brother, and he's dead now. He died in his mid-90s, but Boyd was president of one of the largest insurance companies in the world, and he had a Stanford MBA. So you can see the family had a great value for education. But in doing so, I have had the opportunity to visit all these countries where oral care is negligent or not present at all. Africa is an example, one dentist for millions of people. And I think we dentists, any health practitioner who's active and creative and somewhat entrepreneurial, is making a significant chunk of money, far more than they really need, if we use that word. And therefore, I feel very strongly that it's our responsibility, because of our education, because of our ability to influence people, and because of our seeing them on a very constant basis. You undoubtedly know that 70% of the adults in America see a dentist at least once a year, more than any other country, that we have a responsibility to help those who don't have the opportunity.
Mhm. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. You have quite a story. Now, I'm sure you've been asked to recommend, good dental charities. How do you decide which are good investments?
I think as a personal bias, you have to be interested in the subject. And with dental caries being the most significant and prominent disease of childhood, how much more important can that be? And because children have such a little opportunity to do anything themselves, they're under the control, we hope, of their parents into even past the teenage years. So that's a group that I feel great responsibility for. I look at what percent of the monies that are donated go to actual service and what percent go to administration. I look at the value reports that are on the internet of the various organizations. And I guess the most important thing is personal interest in the subject and the desire to help people, and the desire and knowledge to know that we are definitely blessed, and therefore we owe something back.
Wonderful. Well, I know we certainly appreciate your leadership on our board and certainly the input that you provided, and with regards to, kind of how funds are spent and making sure that, we're making sure that we are in line with maintaining the highest impact possible for the donors' investment in our organization. So certainly
Yeah.
appreciate you leading that charge and
Well, thank
providing
you.
great oversight.
I wish that we're not so busy. I do 70 to 100 programs somewhere on the earth in a given year. And therefore it keeps me away so much that I'm not a real heavily active board member, but I do mention it in most of those courses.
We certainly appreciate that and appreciate you elevating awareness, certainly of the cause and ways people that, ways that folks can get involved with our organization and help. So thank you so much for that.
Mhm.
Um, Now tell us a little bit about your foundation.
Okay. Clinicians Report Foundation. Well, it has my name previous to that, Gordon J. Christensen. Clinicians Report Foundation. Many years ago, like 50, I was then a full-time educator, which I did for 15 years, and therefore had a little more time than I do in an entrepreneurial involvement. I was on the Council on Dental Materials and Devices, the Scientific Council. These are all ADA councils, the Education Group, the National Board Construction Group, and it was interesting to see overall the influence that had because they're basically nonprofit organizations, and I thought I need some freedom within the boundaries of a nonprofit, which you know very well, and the need to have expert accounting and so forth. And I thought, how about if we develop a nonprofit product evaluation group? And I was then a full professor at the University of Colorado at a decent salary, a comfortable home. Everything was cool. My wife thought I was absolutely nuts in the vernacular. And I had several colleagues say that you can't do that. You'll fail in 6 months. So now it's 47 years later. We're in 100 and some odd countries. We are our readership is somewhere in the magnitude of 100,000 practices. So it's grown from just a few study clubs. I started this group out to just assist study clubs, hands-on study clubs, and now it's hardly that. It's into every conceivable part of dentistry, but it was done on the basis of not being biased by money. But then we had to raise money, so our revenue sources come from three orientations. Our publication, as I said, goes into over 100 countries, and there's a subscription for that. That is a significant chunk of our income. Our donations, as you know, then we have to have donations, and the donations are another significant chunk. And then the courses that I and others provide are the third aspect. As with you, we're audited every year. There are over 1,000 nonprofits in the state. I'm always pleased when we're done to see that they have hardly any complaints. There are little things like you left that drawer open with some papers in it, but almost no challenges there. It has grown. Well, initially it grew so fast we couldn't even control it, and because it's in so many countries. And let's just face it, not every country has the same altruistic attitude as many in the U.S. do. So it took a while to get into, well, we're almost all are Western European countries. We're into Asia, and, well, Korea, Singapore, China, everywhere. So it's grown very rapidly. We're well known to not ding a company. If we find something bad, we go to the company and we'll say, this product which you're claiming does such and such, we couldn't prove it. How did you do it? And we find you don't want to hear this, that many of them cannot prove their advertising claims. It's a very high percentage. So the ones that do prove their advertising claims, we're more than happy to promote. Those who don't, we remain silent because we don't need any more lawsuits. If someone asks us, we will tell them what we found, but otherwise we can't report it. I don't know how consumers report, which is obviously the widely spread eclectic group. I don't know how they handle that. They must have flocks of attorneys because they will ding a product. We will occasionally do that when something is flagrantly saying the wrong thing and none of their claims can be proven. So we are the ombudsman, I guess you would say, between the practitioner and the company. And someone needs to be there. The companies like us because if they say something good, we're going to say it. I mean, something proven. If they say something bad, we're going to get to them and say, why don't you change this or that? And most of them do. So it's been just a evolution. I never thought I would do something like this. I thought I would go to Santa Barbara, California and be a dentist, but never happened. Never happened.
That's incredible. And, it's so exciting to see that kind of growth. And I think it really speaks to the service and value of information that you're providing to the profession. Clearly there is a need for that, for them, for dental professionals to identify, what products work great and have a wonderful unbiased source to get that information from. So that's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an enjoyable journey. It has. Not without a lot of work. As you know, any entrepreneurial, I guess they say there's never a day off for someone in an entrepreneurial small business, and that's us. And there is never a holiday. We just have to make it.
And no, I don't imagine you have many days off. No, how busy you are.
Well, I usually, when I'm out speaking, I usually do something fun. One of my mantras is you ought to do something fun every day. It might be 15 minutes. It might be reading a book, whatever it is.
Well, that is a great mantra, and I think a great way to keep your zest and enthusiasm for what life has to offer us. So yes. I love that. I'm going to borrow that if you don't mind.
Okay.
That's awesome. So last question. You have been a devoted supporter of America's ToothFairy since its inception and have served on our board for 15 years. What is different about our organization that inspired you to be involved?
First of all, the people involved. Sharon Sheets, I have the unbelievable respect for, and her father, and how they treated patients and how altruistic they were, and also the competency she had. She's not doing this because she can't do something else. She started it because she felt a need, and that was my original attraction to it. And then knowing full well the gross need among children. I'll tell you the story. It's a heartrending story. My son Michael is a general dentist in a small town in Canada, a resort town, Kenora, Ontario. He and his wife had 3 daughters. One of them was born with a speech defect. Speech defect, she couldn't speak. And all of the authorities said she will never speak. Well, Mike is not one to be dormant. He found out everything he could about that condition. And he, living in a small town, was 3 hours drive from Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is another province. He's in Ontario. He found a person whose life work had been this very disease. And it was stated to be non-curable. It's not a disease, it's a condition. And so Mike made hundreds of trips from the 3 hours from Kenora, Ontario to Winnipeg, Manitoba. Not only did this young woman overcome over hundreds and hundreds of visits, overcome this speech condition, she became student body president in her high school. She became the highest scholar in all of Canada. And this came from nothing. And it came from a total defeat when the child was first diagnosed. Now this girl, who's now 40-ish, is now teaching one-to-one the kids who have the same challenge. One-to-one. She's now well-known. She went to the master's level in speech pathology. But my point is that child would have never been able to speak had somebody not taken on. Now, Mike had the money. He didn't need, well, he's a dentist. So it was not a matter of money. It was a matter of determination, persistence, knowledge, faith in God.
That is an amazing story. And it so speaks to, I think, the opportunities we can provide these kids, especially those that are underserved
Oh,
that need it.
oh,
I mean, and then to find, and then to see her kind of really carrying on, and helping other children. What a wonderful story. Well, I am so grateful for all of your time today
oh, thank you.
and
My
the
pleasure.
insight that you shared. We did a highlight with Dr. Sherilyn Sheets as well.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
um, so that, and we had some wonderful receptivity to that. So it's just kind of a way to, show folks, hey,
I
this
think
is
it's,
who's involved with us, and here's why, and kind of what motivates them, to be involved with us, as well as give a little history, to kind of show where that passion comes from.
was that your idea?
It was my communication manager's idea. So
And
she was
after,
like, let's talk to them and do an interview that, interview kind of the key folks that are involved. And I loved it. So I said, let's
keep
do
up,
it.
keep up that creativity, and you're doing very, very well. I
Oh, well,
appreciate the
thank you.
opportunity.
Well, I'm very fortunate. I have a fantastic team. So I think we've really we're a small team. There's just four of us, but everybody, we work together really well. And I think everybody has, some great levels of expertise, and really kind of unites to work together. And we're certainly
Yeah,
committed. And I have to say, over the past couple of years, it's just been really powerful, and motivating to kind of see what we can do. And we've had some great traction, and we want to do what it takes to keep
you
that going and
done
really move the fulcrum on this issue.
outstandingly well.
Mhm.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Christensen. Have a wonderful day, and thank you
You
so much for
too.
your time.